I don't know,
he
man.
had to do something.
You go.
You're not just gonna let that go and go back home.
You go vigilante investigate a crime and see how good you come out of it. Like
another
it's
country.
I'm just saying, I would like to think that
a war-torn nation with 4
I would
police
fight
states.
for truth.
I would fight for truth. Welcome back to the big room, where we had another episode of the Black and White Orson Welles Power Hour. This week we watched The Third Man, a movie that no one has ever heard of.
Nobody at all.
And it's apparently one of the greatest movies ever, I guess. Or
What?
it's a
Who's saying
In
that?
its genre.
it's a quintessential noir, a film noir,
All right.
which is not. It's not said noir film, right? It's film noir for some reason.
I
Who
do
cares?
not
Fancier.
know.
It came out in 1949. It's about a post-war Vienna. Sausages. This is where
Yum.
they're probably from.
Delicioso.
I like Vienna sausages.
No,
But who cares? We have news.
100%. Yes.
News corner. Imagine we had stinger music and stuff. Put it in post.
We'll get there.
A bunch of billionaires died in a tube.
They did. They did indeed.
I don't feel bad. Do you feel bad?
Cameron, you're too happy about this.
Fill me in because I'm
cares?
not
Listen.
up to date.
What,
Okay.
Carl? You're not up to date on this?
So
I just know that they found debris.
Oh my God.
So
you know what?
Wow,
I didn't even know that they were billionaires. I thought originally it was scientists going
No.
out to explore the
That's
Titanic, and I was
that's
like, why are we
much
going
worse.
back there?
No,
So
there's-
I found out they're billionaires. I'm like, oh my god, this is now
Scientists-
It's irony.
Get better.
Scientists would be tragic because, unlike billionaires,
Right.
they contribute to society in a tangible
Yeah.
and meaningful way. So, no, essentially, this jackass broke every submersible rule
Yep.
while making his submarine that operated off of a Logitech G710 shitty knockoff Xbox controller for your computer.
Known for losing Bluetooth
like an
connection.
actual game controller.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he literally.
Oh my
and it's actually
God.
not just that controller. It's in different photographs. Like there was a PlayStation 3 controller and a Xbox One controller, and then this horrendous Logitech controller that is known for dropping signal. So imagine it's
Oh
just
my
like
God.
Bluetooth. Well, that's not why they died. It wasn't because the controller disconnected.
That's true.
They died because
The
they're-
memes, though.
Oh yeah,
the
the
memes
memes
have been
are
so good.
one of the only reasons I have not walked into traffic this week is because of submarine memes. Because this week has been terrible. Not as terrible as a week as those people in that tube had, or their stupid families. And other families are fine.
Their families are
Well,
fine.
not the Blink 182
maybe-
son.
The
I was
insurance
going to
alone.
say, he's all right.
We'll talk. Remind me to talk about Blink 182 son after we talk about how the submarine exploded, or rather imploded. So yeah, they got into this stupid submersible that had
Yep.
parts on it from Camping World, and a porthole window that was only rated for a depth of 1,500 feet and not 10,000, which is where the Titanic's at. And then when the engineer for the company brought that up, they fired him and then sued him
Classic.
Sued him,
instead
wow.
of
Is there
fixing their
like
problem.
a company or government this had to go through?
No,
to
so
make
there
sure that
there
didn't
is
happen?
there is like a submersible regulative body, I guess, that has like guidelines and stuff. And the CEO of this company called Seagate, I think,
Ocean Gate.
which is hilarious.
Gate.
Because anything gate is
It's
hilarious.
the gateway to the ocean.
Yeah, whatever. So this CEO of Ocean Gate that is now in a million pieces, scattered all across the ocean floor and being eaten by little bottom
That's
feeders.
morbid to put it
Well,
that way.
he can get bent because he's dead. He ignored all these regulations and bragged about it online and to the
He did.
news.
He did do that.
It's like the
Where
biggest
do I shine?
innovators break the rules, and we shouldn't use fiberglass in our hull, but we
No.
did.
and it's like, yeah, how'd that work?
Maybe there's a reason you probably shouldn't have done that.
So yeah, they went
You know
down.
what the worst
and-
part is?
No, there's
The
no
worst
worst part.
is the 18-year-old that was on there. He's the one I feel bad for.
Yeah.
Because I read a thing. It was like he was terrified and only did it for his dad for Father's
No.
Well,
Day. He was like actually terrified to go down, which maybe his dad was there. That makes a little more sense. I don't know.
yeah.
I feel bad for him.
All right. Well,
The others, man.
the one kid we feel bad for. The rest of them can whatever. Who cares? We don't need more billionaires.
It's
in the
interesting that
world.
it's Ocean Gate,
Yeah, it's hilarious.
like Pizza Gate. Like,
Yeah.
is this a conspiracy? Are they
Pizzagate,
actually
that's where you went,
dead?
not not
Did
Watergate.
did they like, is this some guys, now they're all like living an alternate life somewhere to get out of debts or something like that? Is this a staged death?
Yeah. I don't
I don't
I
know.
think they had debts. You think they'll make a movie?
I was about to ask that.
Oh, dude.
When do we get the dramatic reenacting of this?
You know what they call it, right?
96 hours down? No.
No.
96 hours down.
Remember the Titan?
Oh.
It's right there.
Or Titanfall.
So good.
Titanfall.
I don't know what that is. Is that a video game
yeah,
reference?
yeah.
Okay. Oh my god.
So yeah, one of the billionaires had a really shitty son that was like, instead of grieving, I'm going to a Blink-182 concert because it's what my dad would want. But he also did it to chase like clout and stuff on the internet, and then it came out that he was arrested for like creepily stalking a female DJ and then threatening to shoot up a concert. And then his social media collapse ended, I think, last night or today.
Oh really?
With him deleting his Twitter after he got into a beef with Cardi B and then just started tweeting the N-word a whole lot.
Oh my god.
Feels like you could have handled that a little better.
Nah,
Sure.
he's stupid.
Yeah.
And he's like, he acts
He
like
imploded
he's,
like the sub.
yeah, he acts like he's 16. He's like 38.
Ew.
It's like billionaire's son, but he's like, yeah, like he's older than me by a lot. So I don't know. All those people are the worst. There's like, and some people, I saw some people like trying to garner sympathy with like, this is a tragedy. If you died at like a ski accident or something, and I'm like, that's a big leap from
That's
like
not the
ski
same.
accident, like things that normal people can A, afford to do, and B, like don't often die doing, and paying
Yeah.
$250,000 per seat to go sit in a garbage can and go down to the Titanic.
Which like leave the Titanic alone.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
It's
Yeah, hasn't it been through enough?
it's a
been through
naval
enough.
gravesite.
It's been humiliated.
It's full of like dead. It's not full
Now
of
it's a
dead
public
bodies
spectacle.
anymore. The bodies
Well,
are gone,
it's
but the
gotta-
ghosts are there. Leave them alone.
Hey, there's 5 more.
There's 5
New
more.
friends for the Titanic ghost
New
people.
friends.
Maybe they were
So,
lonely.
yeah. I just hope they didn't crash into the well, they probably didn't even get there.
No.
There's no way. Anyway,
When are they
that's-
going to try again?
Hey guys,
Give it another
2025.
let's do the part of the show where Nick takes a break to use the bathroom.
All right.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yeah, that's been News Corner. We watched a movie. It was old. We talked about it already. We introduced the movie.
We
Third
did.
Man, 1949. Whatever. I want to talk about, before we talk about anything to do with the plot and the mystery and the cinematography or how sexy Orson Welles' voice is, I want to talk about the music, because what the hell was that?
It just,
Yeah.
Was it?
Sound like a luau.
Did you get SpongeBob too, Carl?
Yeah, immediately, I was like,
okay.
and it's funny because I was talking about how the Muppets reminded me of SpongeBob, and then we go into this, and it's like, oh my god, is this another episode? Like,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
It
Yeah.
was, so, and I looked to see if it was actually like the same instruments as Spun. It wasn't. This was. I need to go to my notes and not the
Ooh.
podcast notes. So I have some facts about the music.
See, I heard the opposite.
SpongeBob was not recorded with a zither. I don't think.
That's what I heard.
But
But carry on. I'm excited to hear.
not all of it, I don't think. Some of the SpongeBob music is definitively guitar. At any rate, so this soundtrack for this movie was exclusively recorded with a zither, which is a popular folk instrument in Bavaria and Austria in the early 19th century. And this movie revived zither music back into popularity throughout the 50s and early 60s before it fell back out again.
right,
I googled SpongeBob zither and didn't come up with anything. What did you find?
Well, I just read that what you just said, that this movie was exclusively using that, but that it was also an instrument found in SpongeBob music.
Okay, nice. So
not-
we're not crazy then.
Not exclusive to SpongeBob, but it was there, I think.
Yeah. There's
Also, I think the title sequence at the very beginning, I'm pretty sure the instrument we saw on the screen was a zither.
I think so.
That's what I assumed. Did anyone else get like peeking through the blinds vibes from that? Which felt very kind of noir.
Don't
From
remember.
the intro.
Yeah, it was just like this. The strings would kind of go, and it just looked kind of like peeking through a blind a little bit. Not really, but just kind
I
of a motif
don't
of it.
remember it enough.
Yeah, I don't either.
I saw that, and I was like, oh, that's cool if that's what they're trying to do. But I don't think it was.
Yeah, the score is insane. It to me, I felt kind of weird because everything you read about it is like, oh, it was great. Audiences loved it. It was revolutionary and blah, 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 blah. And it captured the tone of post-war Austria. And I'm just going, this feels like it whiffs the mood completely.
Yeah. It didn't feel tonally like it went with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, a little to me too.
Oh, you're saying the zither.
The
Yeah.
zither music, like the score
Gotcha.
in the film itself, not SpongeBob.
It was
or
like
anything.
serious
It
moment.
kinda-
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're just preconditioned to the SpongeBob music,
Probably.
so it feels off.
Well, I brought that up, but
Obviously,
I feel
this was
like
before.
Even without that, though, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like it's emotionally in sync.
Right.
No.
But I think it's supposed to be jarring. I think it's supposed to make you feel like you're in a foreign place. Like in all the shots, we're using like that Dutch angle, which are supposed to make you feel like you're kind
Jaunty and,
of disoriented.
Right.
So like I think that was kind of the point, but it really does seem like a strange musical choice.
I feel like it missed more than it hit. There were a couple parts when I think with Harry later on in the movie where dark stuff was happening, where it was very like, minor key but only like once or twice. So it was like, this part fits and it's sticking out to me, not because it's like, like it was like the music being weird became the normal. So then when it actually fit the mood a couple times, I was like, I'm noticing that this isn't jarring for once.
Yeah.
I do want to say
The other times it was like so laissez-faire, it kind of like downplayed the tragedy of the rest of the movie a little bit. It almost came off as like Wes Anderson, where it was kind of like hokey almost a little bit.
I thought so that during the title sequence, a couple of the trailer. So what I want to say is if you're listening and you aren't going to watch this movie, which who blames you?
not me.
If you want to know what the music was like,
I think you should.
look up the trailer, because the trailer features this music, and we watched the trailer before the movie.
We were like, what?
And I'm like, there's no way this whole movie's like this. The whole movie's
was.
like that.
It
So
was.
if you
I
watch
thought-
the trailer, look up Third Man trailer, listen to the music, and then scratch your head for the next 4 minutes, because whoa. But in the trailer, it gave me some Wes Anderson vibes. Is what else I was going to say with the.
I watched the trailer and I was like, this has to be like a modern rendition of the trailer or something. Like, there's no way this was the original thing that got put out. And then obviously watched the movie and heard that music the entire time.
I think the trailer wasn't original though. I think it was for.
Yeah, but the music is.
I forget
still true to the movie.
Like probably for when the movie hit the Criterion Collection or something.
The music makes more sense if it was a traditional if it was like a traditional form of Austrian music, though.
It was.
That makes more sense now.
It was. So
It's still,
it is? Okay.
It still
Yeah,
was
yeah.
interesting choice, but I get it because it takes place in Vienna.
yeah, it was like
but-
a 1800s Austrian.
Do we just sound like
Bavarian.
dumb Americans?
no.
No, I think we sound like people that are living.
No.
I think we sound like people that are living in 2023 and don't know what a zither is.
Let's bring it back.
And in a post SpongeBob world,
Bring
like
it
that
back.
instrument just hits in it with a different, feeling.
Comes preloaded.
When we make our own podcast intro music, let's use a zither.
Zither.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'll make a phone call. Not gonna happen. All right, so that's really it for the music portion. We can start talking about our first noir. One of two noir films I think we have. I think Maltese Falcon is one as well, although I'm not 100% on that.
So can we define noir?
God, don't say that.
Because I thought it
have to
was going to
Google it.
be. Well, I just thought it was going to be that like
This wasn't.
narration, voiceover, like
Had that at
That's
the
what I
beginning.
there I
expected
was.
too.
You know.
Had
Did
that
it?
in the
Yeah.
beginning. The beginning of the movie had it, and actually, it was different depending on where the movie came out. So in America, we had Holly's actor narrating it, and this is pre-funeral, like post pre-roll credits. There was a little bit of narration, and it was Holly's actor, whatever his name is. I have a different tab open now. Narrating
Joseph
it.
Cotton.
Joseph Cotton.
Yes, Joseph Cotton. But in the international versions of the movie, it was the director narrated it.
Okay.
And also the U.S. version has a
Totally missed
10-minute
that.
shorter runtime. But it's said that the more common version now is the British version. However, since we had the Joseph Cotton narration in ours, I wonder if we saw the American version, because our runtime was about 90 minutes and the international runtime was, I think, 110. So not
It was an
incredibly
hour
different.
40. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it was an hour 40. Maybe we did watch that.
Yeah, but to Nick's point, there's still not that much of the monologuing. Like I expected that more too.
I mean, is a noir defined by monologuing?
So here's what the internet
That's what I'm
says.
wondering. I'm like, am I just imagining like an amalgamation of noir that didn't really exist in any actual movie?
I think that what we're used to, is a caricature.
It's like a parody.
version, right?
A caricature.
So what it says is film noir is a cinematic term used primarily to describe stylish Hollywood crime dramas, particularly those that emphasize cynical attitudes and motivations. So, Lime's whole deal. The 40s and 50s are regarded as the classic period of film noir. The film noir of this era is associated with low-key, black and white visual style that has roots in German expressionist cinematography.
This definitely did that.
So it's more the overall mood.
It's the mood. It's
that,
not necessarily the
dark bleakness.
I'm still waiting for one to hit those exact beats though that I want, like in the Shadows guy. There was some of that here, but not to the extreme that I wanted.
So it's our first noir. It takes place in Austria, which is in post-war Austria, which was kind of cool. Some of the city was bombed out and stuff. And I was wondering, because it was released in 49, had they just not rebuilt it yet? Like, was it not a set?
Filmed on location.
They just actually had rubble lying around and
Maybe.
They definitely filmed in Vienna.
They did film most of it in Vienna. I think some of it was filmed in London.
Yes.
Some of the Orson Welles stuff, I think, was filmed.
Yep.
What I heard is Orson Welles was a bit of a pill on set and really irritating to be around for everybody.
Well,
that's fitting because he tampered with pills.
He also, we'll talk about that.
Orson Welles.
Remember your sewer fact, which Nick might also have for when we get to the sewer scene. So
I do have a sewer fact.
at this point, the city of Vienna is split into 4 quadrants: American, British, French, and Russian. They each have their own like military police kind of deals, and then the city center, they say, is like an amalgamation of all 4 occupied military police rulings, which then never really came into play. So I don't know why they made that distinguishment, but whatever.
History.
So I need to go back to my other notes now, bouncing all over the place. So we open on Holly Martins, which is a hysterical name. He's got a girl's name. And they make fun of his name later in the film, and I was
Holly.
like, your name is Holly, and that's dumb. Holly
Harry
flies
Lime
over.
Much better.
He flies over to Vienna to meet his friend Harry Lime, and the first thing he learns is that Harry Lime's dead.
Yeah, like immediately.
And we're like, damn. And then he goes to Harry Lime's funeral and meets some British military police who are like, hey, that sucks. We'll get you on a plane tomorrow and fly you back to the U.S., which is nice. For a war-torn occupied country, that's nice. So
pretty
offered him a ride,
and he ends up like, does he immediately get suspicious of Harry's death? Like, I don't 100% remember.
He goes out drinking with the policeman guy, and then he gets
right.
put up in the hotel, and then I think one of the guys rings him, and he has like, hey, I got to talk to you kind of thing, because he sees him at the funeral.
Like Harry told one guy that his friend was coming, and then in
the
his
guy with the
dying,
pointy, scary
face.
face.
In his dying throes, told this dude like, hey, my buddy Holly is coming.
Buddy Holly.
My buddy Holly is coming, and can you like give him something? I don't remember, or tell him what's up.
It was like, keep an eye, watch out for him or something.
Watch out for my friend.
So then this dude kind of gives Holly the rundown of like, hey, he got hit by a car. I was walking down the street with him, and then one of our other friends, the Romanian guy, whatever his name was across the street, and Harry saw him and was like, hey, what's up? And then stepped into the street and got hit by a car. We carried him to the other side of the street where the Romanian guy was, me and the Romanian guy. And then he told us some stuff in his last dying breaths, and his doctor was also weirdly there.
Yeah.
And then he died. And that's the story we get, and that Holly gets. And Holly's like, I don't know. It's like, something seems fishy. It sure is convenient that everybody in the city that Harry Lime knew was here when he died. That's kind of weird. So he talks to...
And not only that, but their stories don't match up.
Yeah, there starts to be inconsistencies about the story. Like, he talks to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I wasn't there when he got hit, but there's no way he would have been alive all the way across the street. Like he might have had a couple moments, blah, blah, blah. But it's not like, it doesn't add up that he was, and that's where like, Holly starts to go and be this like weird investigator.
He starts poking around in things that he shouldn't.
He wants the truth.
Like vigilante detective.
And the one thing that tells us, there's one character in the story that kind of tells us that Holly's onto something, and also tells Holly that he's onto something, is the porter, Harry Lime's porter. Whatever a porter is.
I'm guessing it's like a butler.
Like a butler
or
a servant of some kind, a housekeeper that's a man.
Yeah.
But he talks to Harry's porter, because he died like right downstairs from his house, like the street,
right across the street,
right across the street from his house. And the porter says there were 3 men that carried Harry's body.
It was
the
the third
side.
man.
So then we're like, well, everybody said that explicitly there were 2, and all of the reports given to the police, because Holly's like beefing with the police too this whole time, the British police, said there was only 2 guys. And then, well, why didn't the porter talk to the police is the question. And then the porter's like, says, I said too much. And they get into an argument while Anna's there, who we haven't brought up yet. And then some kid sees them arguing while he rolls his ball into the apartment, which is weird. And then the kid is really important later.
Isn't that?
That was the porter's kid, right?
I couldn't
don't
tell.
know.
I think it was supposed to be, because he was saying Papa.
Yeah, but that kid was not very bummed out about his dad being dead.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't think it was because he didn't seem bummed, but maybe he just didn't grasp it.
I think it was just like
some
random
40s.
kid. Yeah, like
he's like a 4-year-old kid.
Like
Yell Papa for like 15 minutes.
And can you stop looking so happy to do it, please? He's dead. He's like, Papa, what? Like,
or maybe Grandpa. I don't know.
Kid was the worst. So
yeah, that's true. Maybe Grandpa. Maybe his dad was in the war or something.
There's also Anna though, and maybe. Anna was like Harry's girl, right?
Yes, she was.
And she's
actress,
like,
Harry's lover.
She's an actress at a theater, and everybody speaks German, but there's no German subtitles. Like we're supposed to be. As
I was
lost.
kind of annoyed by that. I was like, I want to know what they're saying.
I liked it though because we're supposed to be as lost as Holly was.
Yeah, it was immersive for me. It made me feel like I was in this foreign land. That with the music being so strange, I was like, this is just you're just along for the ride, kind of.
And honestly, for my simple brain, the German scenes were a time where I could take a second and catch up on what.
Take a beat. Germans are talking.
I don't have to pay attention right now. Let me think about
them.
The crowds are speaking. I can just hang out for a second. And Anna's like, I mean, she's also suspicious, I guess, because I don't remember why, but she's.
Well, she seems like she's the one that gives. The other Holly the idea that it could have been murder. She's like, I wonder about it myself if it was an accident, and that's when he seems like he has the realization. And it's like, dude, were you not putting that together? Were you not like? Don't you write these kind of books all the time?
Yeah. So they kind of start sniffing around together, and visit. Like she goes with him to the porter and to talk to the porter and stuff. And so with the first conversation with the porter, when the kid shows up when they're arguing, the porter's like, I don't want to say anymore. His wife is there and like tells him to stop talking like 2 times. The first 2 times they meet, because he meets the porter twice. He meets him on the street the first time, and then up in the apartment the second time. And then he is down on the street again, just kind of like looking at the pavement, like, oh, I'll get some information from this. And the porter calls down at the window and says, hey, my wife is not going to be here tonight. Come back later and we'll talk. So he goes to Anna and is like, hey, I found all this stuff out and blah, blah, blah. There was a third guy, which she was there for that conversation, but I found the porter. He's going to meet with us tonight. They go to meet the porter and everyone is outside.
He go.
Yeah, everybody's outside their house, the porter's house, which is Harry Lime's house. And the porter's dead, but everybody speaks German. So Holly's just kind of bumbling around. And then Anna, like the kid is like saying Papa and pointing at him and shit. And then Anna, who speaks German, comes up and goes, they think you did it. And then they have to run away.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a point I want to make.
Why would you run, though?
Oh, because this brings me to a point I want to make about Harry Lime.
Okay.
So I cheated a little bit and watched a video about this movie. More to get insight because we've never seen film noir before, and because we're really terrible movie podcasters that don't know anything about film, which is the point of the show. So Holly's character, I guess in noir, there are like some American kind of caricatures and stereotypes that are used in film noir. And one of them is like the ignorant, fumbling American dunce. And that's Holly's character. And he's kind of a dork. Like he gets a lot of, and while he's doing this case, he gets a lot of people in trouble. He gets Anna wrapped up in that passport crap that ends up getting her basically arrested-ish. He gets the porter murdered. And he gets himself accused of murder. All because he keeps poking around. Like the dudes that were involved.
He's just clumsy.
Yeah, like the more he digs in, we end up learning that the doctor, the Romanian guy, and that was basically everybody that was on the scene of Harry Lime's murder was like, they're all in cahoots as what were they called when they were doing the they were racketeers.
Okay.
So they're all in this like racketeering rig in war-torn Vienna. And so they like had the porter killed because the porter had more info. Like they all had their stories straight and didn't know there was another witness. So they whacked the witness. And then just because of the kid, and the last person the kid saw his dad argue with was Holly.
Yeah.
Then Holly gets wrapped up in a murder accusation. So it's like he can't, like, yeah, he's kind of investigating, but he's also being an idiot the whole time and getting himself wrapped up in. So when everybody's telling him like, hey, stop poking around, it's actually kind of advice he should have maybe followed because he's an idiot the whole time. All he's doing is like, yes, he figures it out in the end, but he does it while also just being a bull in a china shop in people's lives. And like
a lot of casualties.
He's not an investigator though.
Yeah,
like, all he wants is
he's
the
a
truth.
writer.
So like he's not.
Yeah, but he's a
You gotta
shitty
be
writer.
a little forgiving.
Nah, he's a stupid
You
writer
gotta be a
doing
little
a
forgiving
stupid
for his
job.
clumsiness.
No,
But he shouldn't get
He's
involved.
not an investigator.
I don't
Like
think.
Calloway
of course
said,
he
leave it to
should.
the professionals.
But the professionals weren't doing their job. The police
were.
like,
They were doing their job.
The
They
police.
They were doing
the
their
police
job.
were like,
They interviewed all of the witnesses. It's like, I mean, they didn't have 2020s
He had all that information about the
forensics.
racketeering. He was just, it just appeared from the outside like they were just not looking
The British
into it.
police knew more than Holly and we knew they knew. That's why it came out about the racketeering ring later on. Like, they knew that Harry was involved in all that crap.
but wasn't the police chief at one point like, I don't care about whether he was murdered or not. There's a racketeer that's dead, and that's all that matters. He's better off dead.
But he's probably working on the greater ring.
He did atrocious crimes.
It's implied that there's a greater case built there. It's just who cares if he's murdered or not? The racketeer's dead. I don't think the point of the movie is we're supposed to forgive Holly for like ruining everybody's lives while incompetently chasing this case that he shouldn't be chasing. I think that like there's no happy ending to this movie. He's not really a redeemable character. He's not really supposed to be. Yeah, he figures it out. He's an idiot, though. He's a drunk, incompetent writer who's an idiot. I think
feel like there's more positivity to him than that, though.
Well, he figures it out, but no, he's not a faultless hero.
No, but
Like,
he's not a villain.
The point of no, he's not a villain.
No.
But he's a fool, I think is the point of the movie.
He's just kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foolish.
Foolish sounds mean.
It is mean. He gets a guy killed.
Well, the porter
Whoopsie, doesn't
should have
count.
listened to his wife and not opened his mouth.
So I don't know if we can victim blame here.
Well, you're blaming the other guy. Everybody
He's not a victim. He's the perpetrator.
Everybody made.
I don't think you can
mistakes.
blame him for getting to a trip overseas and finding out that his friend's dead, and then seeing people go, it's whatever.
I don't know,
he
man.
Had to do something.
You go.
You're not just gonna let that go and go back home.
You go vigilante, investigate a crime, and see how good you come out of it. Like
another
it's
country.
I'm just saying. I would like to think that
a war-torn nation with 4
I would
police
fight
states.
for truth.
I would fight for truth. Oh, freaking Nick the bounty hunter here.
For truth.
With his plate carrier, pepper spray, and his Blue Lives Matter patch. I'm going to solve this. I stand for the anthem and for justice. Like
I stand.
There's no way.
Got to stand for something.
One of the things I wrote down is the dude is better at manifesting crimes than he is at solving them.
Oh my god.
Poor Holly. I didn't think you're really ripping him. I didn't think he was that bad.
He's a protagonist, but he's an idiot.
Here's a shocker. Me and Danielle are on the same page.
Oh man.
But no, I also get that
love it.
information from like being told that like that's a trope in noir films though.
Oh, okay.
And then on the other side, you have like the other side of the trope is, and what we have to get further in the story, but I have notes about Harry Lime, because he's the other American stereotype or prototype or whatever, like type of person in noir
Archetype?
films. Archetype. Thank you.
Ooh.
In film noir. So anyway, after the Porter situation, they go back to Anna's apartment. There may be some other crap that goes on there. I don't really remember.
That's
Harry
okay.
Lime ends up running from angry like Romanians for a bit or whatever.
You mean not Harry?
No, Holly.
Holly.
Sorry. Why are their first names so close?
That's a good point.
And they changed them in the novella that we'll talk about at the end of this. I have some fun facts. I stole all of Nick's facts. So
Pretty
at
much.
any rate, they end up in Anna's place again later. And there's a cat.
Meow.
And I don't remember the point. I missed the point
Listen,
about the cat. You
I
nailed
caught it. I saw it coming. I knew what it was going to be.
She saw what was coming before I
Well,
did.
because there's a cat in her apartment and he's trying to pet the cat. And she's like, oh, the cat only likes Harry. Don't even try.
And then the cat jumps out the window.
And the cat jumps out the
And
window.
he's like drunk. Holly is. He's like plastered and is like, I love you so much. Or whatever.
Just a little much. She just,
I brought you
her
flowers.
fella
Yeah.
just died. How
Yeah.
about you relax?
Yeah, because he's a stupid fool. Anyway,
She's
so the cat
emotionally
goes down, and
vulnerable.
we get a shot of this cat walking on the street, and that's when you were like, the cat stops at someone's legs, and they're in a doorway, and they're shrouded completely in shadow, which is my favorite shot of the movie. And the cat goes up to the legs, and Danielle goes, "That's Harry
Harry.
Lime," and I went, "What?
Yep.
How do you know that?" And
The cat.
she just said that the cat only likes Harry Lime, and I said, I completely missed that. And then
The
was
cat
another
was
cat
even chewing
thing.
on his
shoelace.
The cat was even chewing on the shoelace.
on the aglet.
and
of his
and right
shoelace.
before he was trying to get it to play with the shoelace and it wouldn't.
Yeah, and then
That's funny.
a different Windows light comes on, like someone turns their house lights on, and we see that it's freaking Orson Welles as Harry Lime, and I'm like, oh, you were right. He's the third man.
He's the third man.
What an introduction.
Which was
That was when
Bum.
you really only realized it in the moment.
Yeah, I knew there was obviously a third man, but I didn't know. Like, and in the back of my mind, I'm going, Orson Welles is booked as an actor in this movie as the dead guy. What are they
Right.
gonna do? Like, and
So
furthermore,
I
this
was wondering.
It's a
I was
90
wondering if like
Go ahead.
if people knew that Orson Welles was going to be in this movie. Because for me, I knew it was happening. I knew he was the dead friend, so I assumed
I think
probably
he was probably building
20,
the
30
poster.
minutes in. I was like, yeah, he's probably alive.
No, that's
There's
what I was
something
gonna
else
say.
going on here.
Is it's a 90 or 100-minute movie, and he doesn't. It's the first hour before we
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
Harry Lime. It's over an hour.
And we're not doing any
Yeah.
flashbacks.
No, that's
Yeah,
how
I thought it was going to
it
be
was
a
going to
flashback.
be.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
why, yeah.
And we might have
I didn't
even
expect
mentioned
him to
that at
be
the
the
end of
third
the last
man.
episode.
Yeah.
We did.
Is
yeah.
that, well, it's Orson Welles. It's got to be flashbacks or something. And it's just, no,
Nope.
it moved at like
Was
a
not.
mystery pace.
Yeah.
Like it took me back to like reading Nancy Drew books as a kid, when you don't figure out even a smidge of what's smidgen,
Committee?
a little tiny part of what's happening until like 2/3 of the way through the book, and then you're like, oh, and then the last third is the fallout, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened here. So I really liked the mystery pacing. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
This kind of movie, though, this kind of, I guess, noir or mystery kind of deal, I feel like is one genre where I want the modern Hollywood gravity
Ooh.
and weight
Meaning what?
and
Interesting.
in score and in
Like the tension.
tight shots. I want the modern tension. I want the modern film interpretations. I want the bass hits and the
Interesting.
subwoofers. I wanted to feel more stressed on a level, or more like, it just kind of felt like, oh, we're watching an old movie and there's a
It's
mystery.
like Sin City. Just
I don't know what that means.
Really dial it in.
'Cause I haven't seen anything, but
I haven't seen it either.
you know how my favorite movies Sherlock Holmes starring Robert Downey Jr. Like that kind of like
Classic.
punchiness and way. I know those movies suck, but I love them so much.
They're fun.
I love them so much. That's the kind of thing, like, you know, when you finally figure it out in those movies, it just feels like more of a
moment.
High stakes.
And this is like, oh, the third man's Harry. Like I didn't feel like I was floored in a way that I wanted to be, and I feel like that's just a difference in modern Hollywood pacing, which I normally dislike, and I kind of wanted it here. Do you disagree?
I mean, I agree to an extent, but I also really like something about the old movies where it's obviously black and white, and just the way everything was really like moody and low. And I don't know, the way they shot the film, everything contrasted a lot. So there's a lot of shadows and light, and it was all very dramatic. And I think the black and white part of it kind of got rid of distractions for me, and like it made you rely on the dialogue in the story. And I thought that held its own really well.
I like the black and white though. I think it's more of, and I appreciated the cinematography too. I think some of it may be score and
music makes a huge difference.
And Foley, and instead of like, you know, imagine like, you know, that shot of Orson.
Love the zither.
You know, you know that shot of when Harry Lime is like, when Holly's in the diner and he's being used as the bait to capture Harry Lime at the end of the movie. Which is the next logical step to go in the story anyway, except for the Ferris wheel, which I want to come back to. But there's that shot of, you know, he's waiting for Harry in the diner, and then Anna shows up and is like, what are you doing? You're being the worst. And they're arguing, and Harry's on a roof across the street looking down, and it's like crazily lit. I don't know if I wanted like
some sort of like
Phantom of the Opera organ, and then a lightning and thunder hit and gadoosh, and then his face like flashes into view on half of it while the other half is, you know what I mean?
Because they're like, he'll never come. There he is. He came.
Instead, I got like da 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 da.
It reminded me honestly of like Charlie Chaplin's silent movie music of
that
like
boyish charm.
You know,
I think the zither was dumb. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was dumb. That's too harsh. But I felt like if it, I didn't like it. I felt like if it would have had a more traditional score, some of the moments would have been impactful.
Would have hit a little heavier.
I don't dislike this movie, but I didn't. I thought that's like, I don't know if it's scored.
I would like to hear it rescored and see how it feels, but I do like the score.
I liked it,
like,
but
it
just
grew on me a lot.
You know what I mean? I wanted more intensity, and I didn't feel it. Because there's like, did y'all feel like a whoa like moment? Like I didn't feel that
I wasn't really tense in any of it.
No, and I wanted.
So I think you're right.
For a mystery, I want to feel gripped. You know what I mean? And I just felt like I'm enjoying myself, but I'm not like locked in.
Yeah.
I think the
none of that intensity.
Score being different would have helped, but the other parts of the movie carried the dramatic effect you were looking for, like the shadows and the light and the.
But more is more.
Like quick smirk.
But I think it's also supposed to highlight him bumbling through the city. It's like it's like it's supposed to be like, look how goofy this guy. It's not serious because he's not serious.
Right.
But then the third
act, he's not an actual detective.
The third act gets so serious though, so I feel like it could even have shifted then to.
Or maybe
different.
not just the zither. It was the only instrument.
Maybe some guitars.
Or a trumpet or a tuba.
Ooh,
I don't know.
That'd be fun.
So
when the light hits his face, boom.
Yeah.
I want to talk about to pivot a little bit and go back in time since you mentioned the diner thing. There's a part where Holly goes to confront Harry. And Harry lives in the Russian sector, and we're given to believe it's like the loosest, you know, more vigilante, because Russians, part of like quadrant of the four. And he meets him at like a terrible carnival with no electricity because the kids are like running with the merry-go-round to get it to spin at all.
Well, it's war-torn. It's been bombed.
It's war-torn and stuff. And then they get on a Ferris wheel that, even though the merry-go-round doesn't have power, this does.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
And Harry...
It's probably a bigger attraction.
Harry and Holly meet, and Holly's like, knows that Harry's tricking people and isn't dead, obviously, because he's talking to him, and knows he's running from the law. And at this point, knows about the racketeering that he's doing.
Yep.
And what he's doing is... he's not like racketeering tires or something innocuous. Like he's stealing. He's got a doctor on the inside stealing penicillin for him that they're then cutting with water so that it goes further and jacking the prices up, and then kids are dying because the penicillin's wrong.
Yeah, kids are dying, or they're becoming
if they're lucky.
All I can think of is deformed, but that's not the right word.
Disabled,
Disabled,
they're
crippled,
like in a
like,
hospital.
Yeah, they can't grow.
Like institutionalized even or something.
Which is so sad.
The other, and that's like the other caricature is the really dark and emotionless, conscienceless, like ultra late stage capitalistic villain, which is what Harry Lime is. Like he's like the
See
line.
all those children, they're all dots.
I wrote the line down.
Yeah.
Because this summarizes how horrible
It's pretty
Lime
bad.
is. The quote is, "Look down there at the kids pushing the merry-go-round. They're on top of like a Ferris wheel. Look down there. Would you really feel any pity if one of those dots stopped moving forever? If I offered you 20,000 pounds for every dot that stopped, would you really, old man, tell me to keep my money? Or would you calculate how many dots you could afford to spend? Free of income tax, my boy. Free of income tax." He makes a point to say.
I love the repeat.
And I wrote down, if that isn't the billionaire class / late stage capitalistic mindset to a T, I don't know what is.
He would have been on that submarine.
That is why we don't feel bad for the submarine billionaires. Because there are a bunch of hairy limes down there.
Harry Lime
Bunch of hairy limes.
would have been on the
We could
Jeff
afford to lose a few of those
Bezos,
dots.
Elon Musk, put them in the submarine, eat the rich. And that's like the whole thing. And then he says some stupid line about cuckoo clocks being Swiss or something, and they're not. They're German. It doesn't make any sense. So
That
What a
that
silly
line was
goose.
the only like improvised line in the movie.
The cuckoo
clock
From
one?
Orson Welles.
And it was
yeah, because they told
wrong,
And
'cause
you
he's
hate it.
dumb.
well, so they told
Danielle,
Orson
trying
Welles
to be on your side here.
They told Orson Welles that they needed more like time in the shot, like they needed more dramatic time. So he's just like, I think I remember this line from this play. So it's not even an original thing. Like he just kind of riffed
See?
the Swiss made
Well,
the cuckoo clock
shoulda
because their
remembered
lives are so
better.
easy or whatever. But the Swiss didn't make the cuckoo clock. It was made in the Black Forest of Germany.
How do you know?
Because I looked it up.
How do you know?
Because the first thing I Googled was the third man cuckoo clock, because I'm like, there's no way this isn't a thing. And it's they didn't make cuckoo clocks. It's a misconception. So
Well,
then the whole diner scene happens, right, where he's Holly's being bait to get Orson Welles, and he's being bait in the British quadrant. He's like, I think I can get him to come over here. So he's like, because Holly wants to cut him in, or Lime wants to cut Holly in into his racketeering gig. That's kind of why he got him over there in the first place, I guess, was to like, hey, we can get rich.
Yeah.
Killing children with fake penicillin.
He had
As
planned
you
on
do.
Big pharma,
like,
baby.
faking his death when he invited him over. Or was that like a after the fact? 'Cause,
I
like that seems
think
like
he
a
did.
misstep. Okay.
Or it was a misstep. Like, I don't know if the cops got on
It's
his
like why
trail
would
and
like
he had to
did he know he
lose-
was just gonna stay? Yeah, like
Yeah,
and try
maybe-
to figure out and run into him again, or like he would have just left. So it's like why did he invite them out there?
I don't know. Maybe he had 4 GTA stars and had to get some of that heat off his
Yeah.
back and was like, I'll
Yeah.
just
Should
fake
call
my
Lester.
death and killed. But what they ended up doing was they ended up killing the doctor guy that was supplying him the penicillin, which was interesting. Like that was the dude in the casket.
Yeah.
which how did that happen? How did they accidentally bury the?
They
wrong
had
body?
to have more guys on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, so he traps him at the diner, and then we get like 20 minutes of chasing Harry Lime around town, which is hilarious. The sewer chase was like, we could have cut 5 minutes out of that and missed nothing, right? Like it was super long.
Maybe, yeah, that seemed
The best-
pretty disorienting and
The
kind of
best part
repetitive.
is, yeah, I'm like, we're meant to think that we're going like all through the sewer. I'm like, there's no way they didn't film this one location like 3 times and just cut in some tunnel
Yeah.
scenes in between because
He
it
repeated
looked
a
like
few of the
that
same
one
shots.
railing.
It's like he'd
Yeah.
run through, and then they'd run through, and then he'd run back the other way. And I'm like, is this supposed to be a different spot, or is this? Are we saying this is the same?
We're
spot?
literally
we
doing, like,
we just
the-
changing the camera angle and be like, it's a new part of the sewer.
The
Like,
comedy Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo chases through the doors. Like that's literally what we're doing. Yeah.
yeah.
So in those sewer scenes, we see like a ton of cops chasing after Lime. In real life, Vienna has police units that monitor the sewers, and the cops we saw in those scenes were actual off-duty cops.
Yeah,
that were just
like they have a
whatever.
real life problem of criminals escaping through the sewers. So the other sewer fact is that only the close-ups of Orson Welles are actually Orson Welles in the sewer scenes, because he's like, sewers that are gross and I'll get a disease. So all the running shots are a body double.
You stole my fact.
Oh, sorry.
This is my fact.
Just
I
say it
figured
real
he
quick.
wasn't gonna
Just
go
say it-
running.
Just say it real quick.
Oh, so only the closest shots were JK.
Yeah, he was being such a little tool bag.
He was like, I'm gonna get a disease.
The sewers are
I mean, he was only in this movie for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, he probably made the most out of anybody.
But now that I
This is
know
Orson
there's
Welles.
this body double,
Was
it's got to be
he
even
maybe
less.
that big of a
5'10"?
movie star? Is that a dumb
This
question?
is 8 years after Citizen Kane. So
But was Citizen
Yeah.
Kane like a commercial success in its time?
I think so. I think it was
I
immediately
believe so,
influential,
yeah.
at least cinematography
It
was.
was?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Okay, so he was like a big deal.
Yeah. Orson Welles is a
Alright.
big deal. In
Maybe
fact,
that's dumb,
to the
but-
point where it was rumored.
I mean, he was in the Muppet movie.
Yeah, he was in the
Ah,
Muppet.
right. Muppet movie.
No, it was thought of for years,
20
and
years later.
that he directed it, and he totally didn't. He directed zero part of this movie,
I don't know why, but the
and he
name-
didn't write any of it. Like, he just acted,
He
but
was
he
there.
got
That one
he
line.
got more credit in, like, I guess, like, public misconception because he was Orson
because it
Welles.
was Orson Welles.
So they just were like, he probably did
Which-
it all.
Probably sucked to be Joseph Cotton,
Yeah,
the
the
I
main.
mean, his character kind of
protagonist.
sucked.
So
oh, I like
Joseph
this
Cotton,
character.
I don't agree.
I just thought he was boring.
he's dumb.
That was the point, though.
Yeah,
He
but
was a
he's,
common
He
man.
was just boring for the first hour, and then we had to wait like that long before we get to see Orson Welles. I'm like, finally,
Yeah,
Like, it's
a
just
movie
so
star.
long. Yeah,
But that guy was in Citizen Kane
He
too.
was, he was Jedediah.
Yeah, he's
yeah, but he was boring in that part too, except for when he was the old man. That's when I thought he was a good character.
No.
Other than
I
that, he was
think
just
good
kind
as
of
old
dull.
man,
He's just
but-
kind of dull.
yeah.
Like,
Poor Joseph Cotton.
Screw you, Joseph Cotton.
No,
I mean, maybe that's
I love
not
you,
maybe that's
Joseph.
not fair of
Rest
all
in
of his
peace.
acting, but from what I've seen, I'm just like, he kind of is not that exciting of an
Yeah.
actor.
I just think that was intentional.
Maybe it was, and if it
For this
was,
character.
then he did it. He nailed it. But if not, I'm just like, I don't know. If
Good
he's got
job
the
being
range.
mediocre, man. Way to follow those
Good job
instructions.
being- good job
It's
being
got to be
plain and
hard to be a good actor because we know he's good from Citizen Kane because it's the only other thing I've seen
Yeah.
him in. It's got to be hard for a good actor to play a boring.
Carl didn't like
character
him in that
without
either.
Being boring.
Yeah, I didn't like him in that. I liked him as the old guy.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like he had that
tell
much personality. I don't know.
Let's wrap up the story real quick. So their comedy chase scene, and then Orson Welles shoots a cop, and then the cop shoots Orson Welles, and then Holly goes and
We drop
executes
character
him
names
in a
He took him out.
He just takes him out on a staircase, and then there's another funeral with actual Harry Lime in
Actual
it
funeral.
for real this time, and then the last shot is a mirror of the first shot with Anna walking
Yeah.
down, and the car driving past, and it's the same cop from earlier, the British officer, offering to get Holly
way.
on now the third plane or train out of there. And instead Holly's like, nah, drop me off. I'm going to go get the girl.
I'm
So
gonna
he-
shoot my shot.
Yeah, he drops him off.
Again.
He throws his bag on some random Bavarian woman's cart of logs and then leans up against it like this, like chilling, like,
Lights a
I'm going to
cigarette,
get
right?
this girl, lights a
Not to the
cigarette.
end. Not to the end.
Bunch of dead. Oh, that's right. Bunch of dead trees. It's like that road that leads to Buckingham Palace, but crappier in every fashionable detail. And then Anna's walking down for what, 25 minutes?
Yeah, we watched
think
her
it-
walk
yeah.
so far.
It was
So
2 literal minutes
I
of
kept
watching
waiting
this
for it
broad.
to cut out
Yeah,
and like leave us with some hope, like
I wanted like
she'd walk halfway and it would fade
Yeah,
to
like
black.
that Inception top spinning. It's like, did it topple over?
I wanted like
did it actually work?
I wanted the Looney Tunes like screen except for the dot, just of her walking, and then it ends. But no, she walks towards the camera and then just walks right past him, and then he just lights a cigarette
Got him.
and roll credits.
It's like you probably should just.
That
made-
was the
made
most
your
noir
point.
feeling for me. It was like, okay, that's what I imagine a noir is. It's like, oh, a guy waiting for a woman, she passes, doesn't even look, lights a cigarette. What is life? That's the cynical approach I wanted for like the whole movie. But
Yeah,
I'm
I'm looking for
what are you
something.
gonna do?
I can't believe Anna was so on Harry's side. I was like, he's like
know.
killing children, and you're still on his side. It's like maybe
Dang it, I can't find what I'm looking for
that's
here.
that's love. That is stand by your man.
Yeah, for real.
If you were killing children, I don't know if I'd stand by you.
Okay, so the ending is different in the book. So Graham Greene is who wrote the screenplay for this movie. And in order to work out the atmosphere, the characterization, and the mood, I'm literally just reading from Wikipedia. He wrote a novella first. It's called The Third Man, and it has some differences. Both of the American characters are British, and Holly's name is Rollo instead.
Rollo.
And the entire novel is taken place from the perspective of Major Calloway, which is interesting.
Ooh,
And,
Interesting.
I might prefer that.
And at the end of the movie, they actually do get together. Rollo, our Holly, and Anna actually do get together and start a new life. So the screenplay writer kind of fought with the director for that ending to the movie, and he lost. The director had the non-happy ending, and Greene said it was like one of the greatest. Like, I'm glad I lost, basically. Like, the movie is great because I didn't get the ending that I wanted in the book. Like,
Yeah, I
the
liked
ending
it.
not being happily ever after fits the grander tone of the entire thing. Because once again, the goober doesn't 100% get his way.
I just like that, you know, he was like, I'm going to get my girl. And she was like, F you, no.
And Major Calloway's even like, he like waits for a minute and then just drives away. He's like, this sucks. Like, I'm out of here. I'm done with this loser. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious as to, I mean, you said you had a star rating in mind. Do we want any final thoughts before we start wrapping up at least the movie portion? I don't have really.
Not really.
No.
The only thought was this is kind of like if Orson Welles and Citizen Kane went to a darker route. It's like that same exact character.
What?
Just instead of newspapers, he goes racketeering.
No, it does have similar themes with the ultra capitalistic man's downfall.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
You know what I mean?
Same with kind of
I feel like
Scarface. I saw a little
Citizen-
bit of that too. You had a guy on the
true.
top and then he falls.
Yeah. I feel like
You have that
Citizen Kane
parallel
was
with him on top of this Ferris wheel looking down on the people, but then he dies and the
So-
sewers blow them.
Citizen Kane was self-destructive, whereas this was.
It felt like a more negative, dark movie to me than this did. Even though, like, the villain was worse, like, the crime was worse, but Citizen Kane felt,
It's definitely more like
More
aggressively
serious.
dystopian
yeah.
than it is like this is a like post-apocalyptic, but the apocalypse being the war, not like as we think of, you know, modern nuclear or zombie
Xanadu.
apocalypses. Yeah. So no, it is different, but it's like there's similar themes with the, you know, the big powerful money guy getting his downfalls.
The fall from grace kind of thing. Yeah. The ultimate power corrupting kind of thing.
Can we start with you for star ratings? Let's do star ratings.
Sure.
And then we can talk about some other things.
So for me, I liked this better than Citizen Kane. So I wanted to rate this kind of based on some of the other like 40s, 50s films that we've watched.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this more than Citizen Kane. But I don't think I liked this as much as I liked oh my gosh, Seven Samurai.
Oh.
Which I think is interesting. I would not have pinned that for myself.
Yeah.
But, you know, I didn't hate this movie. I was really not excited to watch it, as evidenced by my reaction last week. But, you know, like at the beginning it was a little bit hard to get into, but then like towards the end I did get, you know, more engaged. I liked Anna's story, you know, because I like a girl. It's also just fun to look at. Like, everybody's just so pretty, like the way the camera and the light is
the
so
transatlantic
soft.
accents. And,
You know, it's a little bit of a romanticness to it.
it's the golden age of Hollywood.
It is. So, but anyways, going back to but it's between Citizen Kane and Seven Samurai, so it's a solid 2.5
Okay.
for me.
I am going to.
I wouldn't
Ratings
wanna
are always
watch
so
it again.
Surprising.
Do what, Carl?
No, just that your ratings are always so surprising. I'm like 2.5. Okay. All right.
I wouldn't want to watch it like over and over again.
Let's do.
So-
No movie's supposed to be watched like that, though.
Listen, if you're gonna be at a 4,
I know.
a
I'll stop
3.5
right now.
or a 4 for me, I wanna watch it
Yeah,
again.
it has to be a true masterpiece, like Star Wars Episode 1: Phantom Menace. Nick, let's hear you.
So I absolutely would watch this again. This is actually like why I'm really starting to, well, not starting. I enjoy this podcast, but I really enjoy watching
I'm not miserable
movies.
making this show that no one watches anymore.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I
really
watched the
having fun.
trailer. I watched the trailer and I went, I would never watch this outside of this podcast, but I really freaking enjoyed it.
I'd never watch any of this shit outside this podcast.
And that's the point.
Yep.
I thought Joseph Cotton was awesome in this. I enjoyed his character. I thought it made total sense. The stuff he did. I liked that he wasn't polished and that he wasn't this pro investigator. He was just a friend who came over, found his dead friend, and like Holly went on this like emotional, or not emotional, but just this roller coaster ride of, I got here and my friend's dead and the police aren't doing anything, so I have to do what's right and figure out what happened, to holy crap, my friend's alive, but he's a terrible person and I still have to do what's right. And throughout the whole roller coaster, he was still consistent with like doing the right thing, finding the truth. And I think that really showed his character and kind of the overarching theme of, even if you don't get the girl in the end, you have to do the right thing. I don't know. I really enjoyed his performance, if you will. I wish there was more Orson Welles. I wanted him to be a good guy, and he definitely wasn't. I don't know. Something about the old black and white movies make me want to pull out those like bigger, hired like metaphors or whatever.
They make me want to start smoking cigarettes.
I think that, I think that existed here with Holly. It was filmed awesome. I loved the tilted shots that were used
cool.
to like tilting cool, just like Carl.
Tilting cool. God.
They were used in a cool way to like in very specific scenes make you feel disoriented and like, I don't know, unsteady, I guess. It was a great movie.
All right,
definitely would watch it again.
What's your star rating, Shakespeare?
I'm gonna go 4 out of 5.
4.
Wow.
Carl, can I guess yours?
Sure.
I think you're gonna go 3.5.
Okay.
That's
pretty close.
What are you gonna do?
I'm still teetering between a 3.5 and a 4.
That's what I figured.
I just don't know if it was as good as the Muppets.
No way this was as good as the Muppets.
I'm kidding. No, I thought it was really good. The Dutch angle, tilting cool. Those shots really were disorienting and put you in. What's his name? Holly's shoes. You know, the music was kind of the same way. I thought they did a good job with like not giving you the subtitles for all the foreign languages, so you felt like really immersed and just in the middle of the confusion. I mean, yeah, the music is still such a weird choice. I don't know if I love it or hate it. I like the music. I don't know. It would be cool to see if this was like redone with like some more like themed music or seasonally appropriate or whatever music that how that would kind of play into it. God, I just wish there was more Orson Welles. He does such a good villain, and even with all his like atrocities, he's still so charming. You kind of hope he gets away in the end. You're like, oh no, don't shoot him! Like, please get away, climb up the sewers.
You really liked when he had his fingers through the sewer grate for 10 minutes.
I was like, is he tickling the air? Like, what's he? Just push it open, man. We go. Like,
quick fun fact: that was the director's fingers.
We got finger dwarfed.
Nope.
He got.
Oh man.
Never mind.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah. I wouldn't open with that. I think I'm gonna land on the 4.
All right.
Yeah.
4. That leaves me. This movie was mid. 3. Mid.
Ooh.
Least favorite old movie we've watched so far.
Really?
It didn't grab me for whatever reason. I liked it. I enjoyed it the whole way, but my enjoyment level, like out of 10, was at like 7. Like, I'm not mad, but I'm kind of like actively trying to, I guess, keeping interest seems worse than it really was, but I wasn't like gripped like Seven Samurai or even Citizen Kane. But with Citizen Kane, I think I had much different expectations going into it, knowing that it was more of a cinematic masterpiece. So I was really paying attention to shots and stuff, and kind of taking in Orson Welles for the first time, since he is. I really like Orson Welles. I've watched a lot of interviews with him just to hear him talk.
I don't know why, but the name Orson Welles just inspires like a certain sinisterness to me.
Yeah.
Like it feels like Orson Welles. Like he's got like he just feels like a
the man in the shadows.
He would have a cape.
Yeah, like he'd have a cape and he'd pop his collar and he'd be like watching you.
Like he's some Bond villain.
Or a vampire.
Like, I don't know why. It's a very like old timey name, but just the name, it's like Orson. I don't know.
Yeah, this movie was fine. Fine out of 10. It's a 3. It's mid. It's not bad. Like, I don't think it was 2.5 bad. I definitely like don't agree with Nick's take.
Wait,
like what he pulled out of it. Like the guy, like even though he didn't get the girl, did the right thing, as if like that was his goal at all.
It was. He wanted truth, and he was able to pivot his goals and what he was working towards. To find the truth.
He was just an irritating, silly little asshole.
Nick, I love your takeaway from movies, Nick, because you want to
pull out like. And I don't think this is a negative about you. I don't think this is a negative, but you really do be digging for like the most depth and like positivity, and you pull it out in a way that
far of a reach.
I love it.
It's a reach. It's not far. It's not a Mr. Fantastic reach.
That's the movie.
But like to get the girl, it's like, nah, she was never that interested, man.
Well then,
my point there was just even though he did all the right things, he still couldn't get her.
You said like even though he didn't get the girl, he still does the right thing. I think was your phrasing earlier, as if, but like him not getting the girl was the very last thing that happened in the movie and was a motivator in 0 things that happened beforehand. I don't know. I thought he was just kind of a dummy. Like a bumbling, like,
wow.
It's like if you took a Three Stooge and put him in a mystery movie.
Okay, that's reaching.
No, it's reaching.
Talk
about a reach.
I don't know. This movie was mid. It was mid. It was fine.
We are
I wouldn't
divided.
watch it again.
We are divided once again.
We're divided this way. We're divided virtual versus in person. We agree for maybe the second time.
Yeah. But I don't think Nick and I agree on what y'all disagree on.
No. well, me and you were kind of close, too.
Yeah.
Did you give it a 4?
I gave it a 4, yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was thinking 3.5, but I think it had more meat on the bone than that.
Like, I thought I enjoyed the plot. I didn't see the twist coming. I thought it was cool. But again, I think that I wanted, what I said earlier, I wanted more gravity. Yeah. From the score or the cinematography. I don't know what I wanted. I wanted a more modern. I want to be gripped. I want to be gripped and like, what's gonna happen? And I didn't have any of that. I was just like, oh, he's the third man. Sip of whiskey. Like, it was whatever. It was a good movie. I liked it, but like, best movie, one of the best movies of all time?
No.
No,
there's
you got
so many movies on that list.
It's really good though. The storytelling is done in a way that
seems
linear, but it's still hiding things in plain sight.
I like the story, but like one of the best movies ever.
Because Orson Welles was in it, I had maybe too high of expectations, and maybe wanted to.
Well, he was
dig
great.
Deeper.
I thought the best part of the movie,
just because Citizen Kane legitimately like blew my mind with
some of the transitions and stuff they did.
Well, no, just like the overall
Rosebud.
plot.
The sled thing.
Yeah.
All that. All right, here's a question.
I might have been skewed because it was Orson Welles, and I wanted to find that in this.
Here's a question.
I mean, I don't think this is as good as
by
Citizen Kane or Casablanca, but it's still good. Sorry,
you can talk now.
What was like my favorite part of the movie and scene, I guess, was the Ferris wheel thing. I loved the dots part. I liked how evil that made Orson Welles. I liked how it made me think of gross billionaire pigs that rule our society, and I want to drown in the ocean in a submarine. But what was y'all's favorite scenes, I guess, or parts of the movie? Like, that was my favorite part.
My favorite shot had to be the Orson Welles reveal.
Oh, dude,
where
that was
the light
a
hits
shot
his
for
face.
Sure.
Iconic.
And he has that smirk that he gives to Holly.
It kind of like it's me, big boy. I'm still here.
As far as like funny scene, the very beginning when the guy's telling him that Lime's dead, and he's like, he could, and he's getting his English wrong. And he goes, he could be in hell or maybe even heaven.
Yeah.
I was rolling.
Did you have a favorite scene? You hated it. Carl, did you have
I
a
don't
favorite
know.
scene?
I don't know if I can pinpoint.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, the Orson Welles reveal is like iconic. But there was one transition from inside Anna's house to outside where they like go through the window and then like it goes through the trees and the trees kind of open up and it shows Orson like highlighted or like silhouetted. Yeah. That was an amazing shot.
Like went through her plant or something. And
yeah, it like went through
trees.
and like you could tell it kind of like blurred into like another shot and kind of went out, but it was like really smooth and I thought that was a good one. But I can't really think of.
That was the one shot in the movie that made me go, that was brilliant out loud.
Yeah.
Like I remember saying that while watching.
There was some stuff like that. I mean, I guess the shots of the city, because they do it, there's a lot of like angles and stuff like that. And everything's kind of done at that angle. So you never really get an idea of like how the city works. It's all very kind of like a maze. And then after Orson gets caught, it kind of pans out and shows the whole city in like a normal succession. So you're kind of getting that intro shot after everything's kind of like settled. So that's kind of cool. Like if you could loop in like a favorite shot is just the city shots. Like,
all right, well, some of us liked it. Some of us thought it was mid.
I would say I didn't like it.
Mid.
I wasn't like
I mean, you gave it a 2.5.
blown
so.
away.
No.
I guess that's middle. That's middle.
Yeah.
it still wasn't the noir.
It feels lower than middle, but it's
No,
middle.
exactly. That's the
middle.
other thing, Carl. I wanted like rain and like a 1950s diner, and I was like, well, I'm down on my luck if I had any more luck to be down on. She left me this morning, and all I'm left with is 2 shillings and a pack of cigarettes. I've got this coffee. It's cold, just like my future. Like, you know, that kind of like dinery.
Then she walked in.
It just doesn't.
Legs for days. Yeah.
It just doesn't.
That whole thing. I want that. Yeah. But I don't know if that even exists. That may just be,
It just doesn't
should
add up.
watch.
No matter how long I tap my eraser of my pencil on my notepad, it just
watch
doesn't
the
add
Community
up.
episode with Ben Chang.
You want freaking Jughead Jones in Riverdale. That's what you're describing.
I'm not.
Just
I'm
sitting
not
in a diner narrating the town.
I'm not a divorced 37-year-old mom. I don't know what that show is.
Don't watch it. It's bad.
It's like that. I have Riverdale on the same shelf as like Supernatural as far as like this is
Don't get me started. Supernatural is so good.
this is elder
I feel like
Tumblrina
Supernatural
shows.
ranks above Riverdale.
100%.
Yeah.
Supernatural is what like Twilight
same
teenagers
network,
grow
but-
up
It's
to watch.
Dean from Gilmore Girls.
Oh boy. Oh yeah, it is.
It is.
Isn't his name Dean in that stinking show too?
No, his brother's name is Dean.
Oh boy, way to confuse me. Let's talk about the Beatles.
Yeah. The Beatles, dude.
Ooh, Rubber
I am
Soul.
on 5th album, 6th album.
Which one was it?
It was Rubber Soul. I
Rubber
think.
Soul.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Beatles albums, except for the first song.
This, yeah. So,
Baby,
this,
you can drive my car.
You don't like that one?
this is my second favorite Beatles album. Hang on.
Fun.
Let me,
Beep, 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 beep. What's wrong with that?
What's
Nothing.
right with it? All right,
Oh my
let him
God.
talk. Let him cook.
hang on. Can I find the lyrics? Real quick? No, I can't.
Yes,
Daggone.
I'm
Here
gonna
we go.
be a star.
Worst song on the album, Drive My Car.
It's the only bad
I want to
song
be
on the album.
famous. I want to be famous, a star of the screen. But you can do something in between. Baby, you can drive my car.
What does
Beep,
that mean?
beep. Beep, beep. Yeah. This dude wrote Yesterday, an album before, and now we're beep beeping. It's the worst song they've ever written.
But it's
Wow.
an innuendo, right? Song's about boning, isn't it?
You're probably right.
The car is probably McCartney's Little McCartney.
Oh.
I don't know.
Beep, 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 beep.
And he's like, yeah.
I like it more now. Thank on it.
But then right into that into Norwegian Wood, which is an amazing song about burning your girlfriend's bedroom down.
Sounds intense.
I
There were
once
some
met a
crazy
girl.
songs on here.
Or should I say, she once met me. That song's in 12/8 time. It's really fun.
That's
a good song.
That was my note on it. I think my favorite was Nowhere Man.
Nowhere Man's great.
One, because I am Nowhere Man.
Oh, boy.
And two, it's just not a song about a girl. Like, that was refreshing.
Well, you got to think, though, they're coming out of their boy band era. Like, this is the transition. Yeah. The Rubber Soul is the transition. Now, Help as well, but Rubber Soul...
Help, I definitely felt the transition on Help.
Rubber Soul is post, like, India weirdness time, where I think especially George and Lennon get into big Hinduism and you know, all that kind of stuff. And Paul and Ringo are like, okay. So that's why, like, Norwegian Wood has sitar in it. And there's a lot of, like, more Eastern instrumentalism that they bring in, and they really start to experiment with their sound and go further away from the boy band One Direction, but 60 years before that.
One Direction wishes
that the first 3 or 4 albums had. Like this, I feel like Rubber Soul really is the first step into a larger world. Before we get to like, you know, there's a direct line from Rubber Soul to like Abbey Road and Let It Be.
Where's Penny Lane?
Yellow Submarine, I think,
Okay.
which is also after this. I think Penny Lane was a single, I believe, that was added to an album later. Penny Lane's my favorite Beatles song.
It's so good.
Because I named the best song to drive to every week.
Oh,
on this
Drive My
album,
Car.
It was no, it definitely wasn't. Think for Yourself. That's a fun little bop.
Yep. Anyway, that's Beatles update. Revolver, man, you get to listen to Eleanor Rigby. I'm jealous. I mean, I could listen to that anytime.
Whenever you want.
Also can listen.
I have a rectangle that can play sounds. So that's about it, eh?
Yeah.
Was this a long one on accident?
No, we are right.
We're
Do
all
you
right.
want to do stuff we watched outside or cut it?
Well, the only thing I freaking watch is somebody feed Phil.
I watched
Of course.
something.
What'd you watch?
I watched The Dropout with Amanda Seyfried about the Elizabeth
Oh
Holmes
yeah.
scandal. You know, in all Theranos. I enjoyed it. It's just it's a week for stories about billionaire rich people
And there's
not doing a great job.
Yeah.
That's the
Facing
thing.
consequences.
You're
That's
telling
the theme of
me
this week.
that being handed success on a silver spoon doesn't turn out well?
To be fair, Elizabeth Holmes wasn't really she did work for it. She just worked the wrong way.
Yeah, by
and broke a
lying
lot
and
of rules.
swindling and yeah.
But she didn't start out rich. She started out very poor.
Well, and now she's in jail.
And now she's
I
in
don't
jail.
know who they're talking about, Carl.
You don't know
So, okay, so
you
Theranos.
don't like technology news. How'd you
Let
miss
me
the
tell
whole
you about
Theranos
this.
thing?
And they went defunct in 2017, I think. So they were starting a blood testing device that was claiming that they could run all these tests off of a single drop of blood. So like no more like blood draws or needle sticks. You would just get a little prick and it would run all these tests. Well, that technology doesn't exist. But they basically scammed their way into like a multi-billion-dollar company
Like
based
scammed
off of
Pfizer and stuff.
like Pfizer, Walgreens. Like they opened Walgreens clinics and would like dilute blood to run the tests on different machines, or they would run them on their machines, which were horribly inaccurate. So people were like misdiagnosed with cancer, misdiagnosed with like STDs.
Super good stuff.
Super great stuff. But they just like somehow found a way to kept skirting around and kept like pumping more money into it, hoping that eventually the technology would catch
Yeah,
up.
she's like, I didn't do anything wrong. The
It didn't,
technology
huh?
just
And
isn't
it
there
didn't.
yet.
And someone finally reported them. Like any whistleblowers, they would just fire. Everyone was on like severe NDAs.
She's not legal.
And so finally somebody reported them to some like government agency that finally stepped in and like forced an investigation and then shut them down.
And she just went to
And
jail.
she just went to jail like May 30th of this year.
Like she had been arrested before, but she went to trial in
So
2020 or whatever. And
it's
just went to jail.
wild.
Imagine if Holly had been on that case.
Maybe it would have. Maybe it would have ended sooner.
Maybe he would have killed everybody trying to figure it out.
Yeah, he probably would have.
Elizabeth Holmes would have had everybody
But
off.
he would have found truth.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Did he get the girl though?
It's not that deep, man. .jpeg. What'd y'all watch?
Speaking of rich people, I finally watched Burt Kreischer's Razzle Dazzle on Netflix.
Oh.
Which is just the same stuff that we saw him do live.
Live.
So I haven't watched
But
that.
my dad was asking me what comedy special he should watch.
Not that one.
well, I was like, well, you got to watch Burt Kreischer. So me and him sit down and watch Razzle Dazzle together. And watching something with your dad like that that you wouldn't have watched growing up, but
It's
you
hard.
can now, it's a fun experience.
Did he enjoy it?
He laughed so hard.
I don't know if Bert
it was
would be
great.
my gateway comedian, Carl.
Dude,
Yeah.
Who would you show
He
someone
loved him.
first?
It really depends who's asking.
Yeah, like Gaffigan or
That's how you got me into comedy.
I got you in
We
with
started
Gaffigan.
with Gaffigan,
Yeah, Gaffigan or
who I could have saw for free and didn't go
Yeah,
because I was
UNF.
like, "Who's Jim Gaffigan?" So
I'd
dumb.
probably start with
So
Gaffigan
dumb.
because he's clean, but he's really hilarious. Or Brian Regan, somebody like
That's
that.
who I was trying to think of, yeah, because he's clean and very funny.
Like Brian Regan's I Walked on
but it
the
just
Moon
depends who.
special.
Yeah, if it was up here, I'd be like Mark Norman and Sam Morril. Check them out. If you don't
I'd
like
throw
them,
Tom
then
Segura at him.
yeah.
Probably.
If I knew
Probably
they could
mostly
handle
stories.
I've
it,
showed him Segura clips, but
Norman's really
I
good.
don't know. I also just knew I
Taylor's
hadn't watched
good.
Razzle Dazzle.
Taylor
so I wanted to.
Tomlinson
Taylor
is
Tomlinson,
elite.
if they're in our age
She's
bracket,
gonna be in Nashville soon.
you should go.
I think September.
You should go.
You
Her
should
her
go.
hour is really good.
She's, so
Ooh,
good.
I'm
she's,
excited.
she's my favorite.
Carl, who'd you see last night?
Eric Griffin.
I don't know who that is.
That's right.
He was in Workaholics and he's
Montez from Workaholics.
yeah. Very funny.
Nice.
Have you given up what you watched yet or no?
No, but I just started watching at your and David's suggestion. I think you should leave.
I need to
And I'm
actually-
tearing through like the first. Do what?
I've only seen the clips. I need to start that.
Oh, I've watched the whole like. I think I'm on like halfway through season 1. I'm like episode 6 or something. I don't know how many episodes, but it's so funny, so good.
Yeah, dude, the clips are
It's
so
amazing.
funny. It's really, really, really good.
Please
It's,
let me go. Let me go.
yeah,
Is
it's,
that?
that's it. Yeah.
I've seen
It's
this
the
guy.
newest like
So good.
awkward.
Are you sure that's
humor,
why?
Like
I
aggressively
have
awkward.
sure about
seen
that?
this.
You sure about that?
Oh,
It's so good.
top tier.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
start that.
I saw, yeah.
It's wacky
I
fun.
like shows, so.
All
I
right.
saw a clip of him like in traffic, and there's a guy beeping his horn at him. He's like, "Can you not drive?" And he just turns around and goes, "No, I can't drive."
I don't know how to
okay?"
drive. He's just tearing up. There's so many bits
What
where
are
he
you
just
talking about? Are you
cries.
crazy?
It's like I don't know what's happening. Right
I'm
now.
sorry.
Have you seen the haunted,
He's like, what are you doing? Ah, it hurts you.
Have you seen the historical haunted house one? Where they're like, it's the latest.
He's like, this is the adult hour, so, you
So
can
we
see
can
what he's
swear, and he just goes jizz.
Yeah. Does a ghost ever come out and just calm, just like crazy, like just fucking calm? And it's like, dude, okay, like it's like no, that doesn't
I'll
happen.
show you that clip after this. It's
Okay.
unbelievable.
I don't know.
All right,
It's
let's wrap
so
this up.
ridiculous.
Next week?
Next, oh God, we are not pulling a. We forgot to not pull a movie. We're not pulling a movie this week because next week will be actual 4th of July. The episode will come out on because
It's
a
not
Tuesday.
next week, but the week after.
Oh, the week after.
But yes, it will
Okay.
come out on the actual
So yeah,
Independence Day.
and so we're gonna watch
Hey.
in preparation, National Treasure,
National Treasure.
With-
American classic.
starring one Nicolas Cage. I've never
Starring a
seen a
National
Nicolas,
Treasure.
I've never seen a Nicolas Cage movie, so
Oh,
also the
Interesting.
Independence.
show's gonna look different soon too.
Yeah.
We're gonna like after we're done recording, drop some money and get Nick in the room.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Nick in the room.
Nice.
We have another camera that has been discreetly sitting on the shelf back here for like months.
You can't see it.
And I just haven't.
You can't see through me.
I just haven't bought the sound equipment and stuff necessary. But you know what? I have it now, or I'm ordering it tonight. So
There you go.
we're really gonna try to cram a whole podcast studio in this tiny ass bedroom. So
Do
all
it.
for 5 people to watch.
All for you.
So yeah, we're gonna watch National Treasure and celebrate this country, I guess. Whatever, man. All right.
It's a place.
Yeah, we live here. Nationalism's bad. And we'll catch you in the next one.